This is Bigfoot Podcast. Today we're talking to ghostly Vancouver tours about the mysteries surrounding conspiracy even they might not know the answers to.
And what really brought me to ghost tours in general was a lifelong passion for the paranormal and Halloween too. As much as I love telling ghost stories, I'm actually more excited to hear about your ghost stories.
Just one more question before we get into the deep stuff. Is there a favorite ghost tour that you do?
I honestly think Gastown is, the best because it has so much of the ambiance and history there. I mean, you really can't throw a rock in Gastown without hitting a haunted building.
Okay, yeah. I will pass the mic on to one of my colleagues and they'll get started with our prepared questions.
Can I ask how your organization began and what inspired ghost tours?
Well, I mean, most cities, larger cities where there's tourists, do have ghost tours in it. I think it's just a matter of demand. Ghost tours are also gaining in popularity. I think people go on ghost tours for a couple of reasons. Some people are just really big fans of the paranormal. They want to hear stories. But then I have people who are not believers who just enjoy a saltier side of the history. When you go on the ghost tour, you're going to hear a little bit of the spicier stories, oh, that's the governor's house on the historic tour. And then you go on the ghost tour, well, and that's his mistress across the street, let me tell you that story. People just really enjoy hearing an alternate history.
That sounds really cool because we recently did our interviews on the street. We had a lady, she was saying that she took part in a ghost tour in Victoria. Before the tour, she wasn't that much of a believer, but I think she had an experience where after the tour, she strongly believed that ghosts were real.
It usually takes a very significant experience for people to go all the way to full-on believer, but it's rare, but it's super cool when it happens.
Okay, so my next question is, what is the most historically significant or most frequently discussed stories on your routes?
Well, I think historically significant, we have to look at anything in history that really altered the course of a city's history. And for ghost tours in particular, I think it's going to be also things of great tragedy. So that brings me to Great Fires. Not only did it really alter the history of the city in the development, the buildings, the businesses, it changed a lot of people's lives. Obviously, people passed away or lost loved ones, changed the course there. I think great tragedies, like a Great Fire, I think it provides a real fertile ground for hauntings. So for me, the most historically significant stories do revolve around life-altering events in the city's history.
Those were really good answers. I'm going to pass the questions on to the other host now.
So my first question is, how would you say that you balance folklore, eyewitness reports, and archival history on these tours?
Well, I think that you're hitting probably the three things that make up a ghost story. Without history, you have no context for a ghost story. Otherwise, this would be a ghost story. Hey, I hear that building's haunted. I don't know why. Next story. That's not a very good narrative. That doesn't give a full picture. I like to tell things in a chronological order, but also just to give the background. And then I do like to hear about, well, what have people experienced? And I think that if I hear the same story multiple times from different stories, it's most likely to get into the ghost story that I'm going to tell. It's not just tourists who come on ghost tours. There's a lot of locals, especially around Halloween time. And they've had experiences. They know people who've worked at these buildings, these places, or maybe they live there themselves. So they add to the fabric of it. It is really weighing the significance of the story. Again, is someone talking about Room 512 again? Okay, I'm going to now start mentioning Room 512 because it's been coming up over and over from different sources. If someone keep mentioning a woman dressed in a white dress, okay, so I think now we're sort of validating these eyewitness reports. If more than one person saw it, because sometimes, a ghost sighting really maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it just something else. It's not always 100% that way. And folklore, we do have folklore, and I think that plays into the paranormal theories. Sometimes when I'm discussing why are these particular buildings so much more haunted than others? Why is this area necessarily so much more haunted? Is there something about the geography? Is there something about the people who lived here? Two rivers here. This could create a portal, or could this create a lot more paranormal activity? People talk about Bigfoot. What is Bigfoot too? If you're going to tell a Bigfoot story, you got to tell what is the folklore of it.
Why do you believe that ghost stories continue to resonate with local communities in Vancouver?
Ghost stories are history. There are community stories. When you go to a location and you have paranormal activity, you have a spirit that is lingering in that area. This spirit lived in this community. I don't know how it could be 1 year ago, it could be 150 years ago, but they are part of the fabric. They are an existing, I don't want to say living, like a past, but they are an existing person in a way that makes sense. And you can't separate that from the history. If you have several ghosts in one area, you really have to think about what is so significant about this place. Why are spirits here? Is it the land? Did something happen here? Is it the building? Who is here? Why would spirits remain attached? And it isn't always negative that people are attached to a location. Sometimes it was just a great place. A lot of spirits love to go back to theaters because maybe they loved theaters. People who work in the theater, so dedicated. I don't know a single theater in the Lower Mainland that isn't haunted. It's a great place. If this is a hotel and you have a lot of ghosts, like the Fairmont Hotel Vancouver on Georgia Street, I think it's such a grand place to be. And all these spirits that linger. There's the legend of the Lady in Red. She exists, I don't really know, but it's also the history of how glamorous that hotel was. So there's that attachment. Why are spirits attached? Sometimes it's just an object, or sometimes they're attached to people. But I think ghosts are a testament to history, community, and the people that lived in the location where they want to hang out. A lot of times that's their childhood home or wherever, but sometimes it's like the theater. Hey, I love the theater. I was an actor. I can finally be center stage, and I'm going to return here. Or this is the place, this is the pub. This is where I met my friends every Friday night. This is where I felt like I belonged. So they want to continue experiencing that joy after they passed.
Wow, this is all so like it makes a lot of sense how you're explaining it. So we've just got, I think, one or two more questions left for you. The first one being, what do you wish young people kind of experienced or talked about more in terms of ghosts in the paranormal world?
Well, I think that too much is put on necessarily just ghost hunting and equipment. That's a piece of it, but I think if people are really interested in the paranormal and going to haunted places, first of all, experience it for yourself. Sit there quietly, try to eliminate distractions, and see what you feel. I think the first step is always trying to figure out, how is this environment impacting me? Am I feeling anything? I believe that all of us have a little bit of a psychic ability, at least in us. Some people have great psychic ability. I work with psychic mediums who are extremely talented and are in constant communication with the spirit world. That's not my experience. I am sensitive to spirits, but I don't necessarily communicate with them. But if you allow yourself to be still in an area, you can feel things. Ghosts are energy. And while you may not see it, or you may not understand what they're saying, maybe you can feel it. You can feel electricity. And if a ghost is energy, you could possibly feel their presence if they get close enough. Or maybe you will hear something. So I think the first step is always just trying to personally experience a location for yourself. Ghost hunting, getting all that equipment, try not to get too caught up into it. It is a tool. It is a tool, and it is a way of looking for evidence. It's a way of narrowing down possibly where activity is, but it is not the be-all, end-all of it. Look into the history of a spot. Try to understand. I'm a big fan of history and what it means, what is significant about this location. And just to realize it's not always just about a great tragedy. It can just be, hey, this is a gathering place and people are still gathering here. But also, sometimes you're just tapping into residual energy. Sometimes it's not an act of haunting. What you're experiencing, and this sometimes happens in train stations and other liminal spaces, is that you're just getting an echo from the past. You'll see people catching trains and then they'll disappear. This is just energy left over, and it's just caught in a loop. I'm not a physicist. I don't understand time and dimensions and all that stuff, but I do understand this is possible. It's theoretical in a scientific way. So there are just multiple steps, I would say, and always be respectful. I don't like when people antagonize or try to get a rise or be disrespectful to ghosts. If there's a legend of the stories of someone being murdered on the spot and someone is, and maybe the victim is haunting that spot. Well, don't try to mock their death or, say, I'm coming to get you, or say something that would be hurtful, disrespectful. I mean, these are beings, and I think it's really important to remember that these were people and in a way still are people. So just go into a place with respect and don't break into buildings, please. Please don't trespass. That's really bad too.
Yeah. We here at Bigfoot Podcasting definitely don't condone trespassing. The final question is just, do you have anything else you want to tell us? Everything you have told us is really great. We'd love to hear if you have a personal story that's really important to you about ghosts or the paranormal world.
Well, I think, as a final message, the more you look at, there's a saying, if you look at the paranormal, it will look back at you. And I think this is very true. I think the more you start paying attention to, and paranormal is a big word. I mean, that could be cryptids, like Bigfoot. That could be ghost. That could be other entities, fairy realms. That sometimes encompasses the whole UAP phenomenon. Could be portals. But the more you start studying this, start listening to podcasts and stuff, I do feel the more activity you're going to experience. And just always be careful. There's a lot of negative entities out there. You can get attachments. Careful experimenting with things that you don't know anything about, or that can be quite risky spiritually speaking. You don't want to invite dark energy into a space just to get the result, just to get the thrill of it, because it could be really hard to get rid of that entity later. So just be careful as you move along. And try to document everything you do. I'm so mad at myself for not writing down. I'm so mad at not documenting all of my paranormal experience through the years. This is why it's neat when people ask me for paranormal for these podcasts and in your interviews, because now I have it recorded and I can remember some of my stories.
Yeah.
Or writers that contact me asking me for haunted stories. I'm like, yes, let me tell you them before I forget them. Document everything you have, because I think then you'll notice patterns and you start to learn better. It's a journey if you're interested in it. I mean, this is the paranormal supplies endless subject matter for you. As far as the most significant stories that I've had, I don't know. I've had a lot of ghostly activities over the years. I've had a lot of run-ins, not just during tours, but also during paranormal investigations, and even just sitting in my condo, I've had things happen to me. And to be honest, after a while, I don't want to say it becomes mundane, but it's not as thrilling as exciting as it used to be. You do definitely learn to just live with it. Oh yeah, I just saw a dark shadow move through my living room, but oh God, I'm not in the mood for it. I really just want to watch YouTube videos tonight. I'm tired. And I know it's ironic to think I want to watch YouTube videos of ghosts, but I feel like ignoring the ghosts behind me. But sometimes you're just like, I don't want to deal with you tonight. I don't know who you are. You're coming through. You're trying to get my attention, but I'm tired. No, thank you tonight. So, I mean, after a life of paranormal activity and experiences, I still do have a passion for it, but I definitely have a lot more perspective at this point. I realize it's a lot more common. It's around us all the time. So I don't even know where I was going with that. I can't remember what your question is. I think when you get me on the topic of my personal experiences, I can go on for a long time.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Everything has been so interesting. You can find us on Twitter and on WordPress if you're ever curious on how the Bigfoot podcast is doing. And yeah, you've given us a lot that we can discuss, and maybe some places in the city that we'll go explore.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
It was amazing talking to you today.
Bye.